McCarthy Auto Group is one of the largest auto groups in Kansas City, let alone the Midwest. It operates a total of 10 dealerships throughout the region. Whether you're looking for a quality used car in Blue Springs, Missouri, or a new car dealer in Overland Park, Kansas, McCarthy helps you cross each T and dot each I. And our commitment goes beyond the dealership. We continue to impact the lives of young student athletes in our area to propel them into their futures. And we are proud to partner with PrepsKC and present the McCarthy Elite Team.
Are you elite? When the game is on the line, you make that big tackle, break the long run, throw that block, make that kick. Are you the best of the best in KC? Well, starting this season, a new standard will be set. The most exclusive postseason honor in Kansas City high school football. The PrepsKC McCarthy Elite Team. Only 28 players will earn this distinction, from quarterback to kicker, defensive lineman to returner. It's not about the stars next to your name. It's about what you do on the field. Will you become part of the elite? The PrepsKC McCarthy Elite Team.
Welcome back to PrepsKC's Football Friday Night, driven by the McCarthy Auto Group. I'm your host, Dion Clisso, and a program like this wouldn't be possible without a great partner like the McCarthy Auto Group, a founding partner of PrepsKC. There would be no PrepsKC without McCarthy Auto Group. They also give 23 $1,000 scholarships to the Greater Kansas City Football Coaches Association every year. It's a great thing they do. They give other grants and scholarships, and this year they are the sponsor of the PrepsKC McCarthy Elite Team, and that is our segment we are on now. We've talked about different position groups. We've talked quarterbacks. We've talked defensive linemen. We've talked running backs, and this week we move on to linebackers, and we bring in Ryan Wallace from GoPowerCat.com, and we got a list here that we're just looking at. We're not going to release the entire list. We got like 26 guys on here, and I feel like we're missing some people.
Yeah. It's deep. I mean, it's that deep. I mean, you and I were talking, one of the kids that we'll talk about is Isaiah Hung at Liberty, but you talked to Coach Freegon over there, and I mean, they've got Grady Coppinger and Brooks Ragland too that are just juniors. I mean, we could pick 3 from that team alone, Dion.
Yeah, no, it's a deep group, and we're going to talk about a lot of people in this podcast and this portion of the radio show, and I'll have a story that's got some names on it. Don't feel like you've been left off, because this is a long list and we're looking to add names to it. And we only get to pick 4 when the season comes to an end. And, we've got a situation where in this group specifically, you've got some big time guys. And we talk about, it's not about your stars, but we've got a combination of a lot of these guys that are big time recruits that also are big time motors, the players that are making the plays. And let's just start right off the top. And the 2 guys at Blue Valley, and Dawson Merritt and McGuire Richmond. McGuire Richmond also kicks for him, so that doesn't really count as a linebacker, but he does a lot of things. But you said it. You said your dad was at the Blue Valley game, and what did he hear?
Tackle on the play, Dawson Merritt. Tackle on the play, McGuire Richmond. Tackle on the play, Dawson. I mean, it was just back and forth. McGuire Richmond plays tight end, kicker. What doesn't McGuire Richmond do? But it's good that you brought up the point about star power, right? And recruiting rankings and that sort of thing, because, I'll be the first to, be honest about kids. I don't mind holding back on my opinions of kids, but when you talk specifically about some of the guys in this linebacker pool, they are legit. It's not hot air that we're just blowing. And you see it, like you said, in their motor constantly. And, Merritt and Richmond are 2 guys too that, and again, this will be a team determined mostly on what they accomplish on the field. But those are 2 kids, captain wise and everything, for Coach Terrell that are doing a lot of stuff off the field in the best way too. So yeah, I don't know. This is going to be really hard, because you put those 2 on, and I mean, again, you look at it and you say, well, you couldn't possibly put 2 linebackers from the same team on an elite team like this. With those 2 you could, and then you're down to 1 more spot
or 2 more spots, because we'll do 4.
2, correct.
But then you go to the next name that we're going to read off, who might be the best recruit in the Metro, who's also got a motor, who's been playing defensive end the last couple of years and is now back into his natural position of middle linebacker, and that's Jaden Woods from Mill Valley. And I remember when he was a freshman seeing a video of him playing running back and just running through kids from Lawrence, and talking to McShafer, and said, no, he was probably good enough to start at linebacker as a freshman. They just had, 5-6 guys in front of them,
right?
Because they were in the middle of what is now a 5-year in a row run of state championships. And that's a guy I think that if you pay attention to, he's a guy that definitely you've heard of. You move on to Lewisburg, Ashton Moore. There's another guy that's a big time recruit who's also got a big time motor and who does it on both sides of the field because he plays tailback for him. So yeah, those are guys right there. The one that I think that is quietly making his way up the list, if you watch Kearney play, is Theo Grace.
Yeah.
Is he a Power 5 D1 guy? Maybe not. Do they win the state championship last year without that kid? Are they 3 or 4-0 right now without that kid? No, he is a key to what he's that good. He makes everything happen for them. So those are just a few names. We're only a couple minutes in this.
Yeah, I'll tell you a kid that I really like that we discussed here before we hit record, and we're going to talk about him now that we are recording. I don't know what Free State's going to be. They've had some highs and lows already early in this season, but Parker Moore is the real deal to me. Been able to see him at camp settings, watch some of his tape already as a senior. He's a commitment right now to Wyoming. But it will not surprise me one iota if there are some high major players, even beyond the level of a Wyoming. I mean, I'm talking Power 4 level teams. Nod, wink, wink. The one right down the street from him that doesn't try and find a way to get a player like that on the field. He battled through some injuries at the end of last season. He's healthy again. He's faster. He's got great size. And Dion, he's the type of linebacker that he's a do-it-all kid. I mean, he can cover sideline to sideline. He'll help you against the pass, and he has no problem coming up at the line of scrimmage to help in run stopping either. Parker Moore is one that I think will stick around on this list throughout the season.
Another one that's kind of like that for Fort Osage, Anthony Thompson, real physical guy. Maybe not as speed-wise. I think his brother got more of the running ability. Skyler, if you've heard of him, unfortunately, Skyler's hurt again for the Dolphins when he got the starting job. But no, he's a guy that the first couple of weeks had to step over and play offense and play tailback.
Yeah.
So it shows you he's got some athletic ability, but he is a key to what is Fort Osage's bread and butter, which is their defense. Another guy is a junior, Jaden Richburg from Blue Spring South. While we talk about what Blue Spring South has done offensively, what is maybe going to push them over the top? A couple years ago, they were throwing the ball around the yard. They won 7 games. They were fun to watch. They turned things around. Now they're running the ball really well. Their offense is tough to beat. They're winning games because their defense is tough. It's Liberty North. They shut them down. They really shut everybody down defensively, and he's a big part of that. And then you got a couple of guys from Blue Valley West, Jack Cook and Lawson McGraw. Those are guys on a Blue Valley West team that in a couple of weeks we've got them playing Blue Valley Northwest. Those could be the 2 best teams in 6A on this side. You don't know. I mean, and those guys are key to that. Another person that may only play half a game for the rest of the season is Carl Moley at St. Pius X. They just shut out Maryville 61-0. He was a guy who was on the Bell ballot last year. Really anchors that St. Pius X defense. And St. Pius can score. They got talented offensive players, but they've got size up front, and that defense is what's really taking them. Held Rockers to 24 points in week 1. So I mean, those are just a handful of guys that are out there. And it's, we talked a couple weeks ago about the defensive line, and that's where the money's been made in terms of guys making it all the way to Sunday in this area in the last decade. But I think we're starting to see some linebackers that have got the stuff to kind of go and be, in that mold as well. And this class right here is, as far as I know, it's the best group of linebackers we've had in a long time.
Well, and like you said, I think that, we mentioned mostly seniors here. But as you mentioned, there's some really, really talented juniors and even underclassmen on this list. Caleb Green over at Lee Summit North, Caden Green's younger brother, only a sophomore. He's got a long way to go in terms of the growth that I think where he'll be as a senior. He'll be on this list for multiple years. You mentioned Lawson McGraw as a kid at Blue Valley West that probably a lot of people don't know about yet. But what he does as a hybrid kind of outside linebacker, he's already getting some major attention from both the in-state schools. So yeah, there's a number of players on here. Richburg, you mentioned from Blue Spring South. That's 6 foot 230, first guy off the bus type of look. I mean, that's a kid you do not want to mess with. And oh, by the way, the Jags have him for a whole nother year.
Yes. So that's the thing about the Jaguars. There's only 17 seniors on that team. And here's a guy that, Baser Linwood knew coming into this year, they were going to have to hang their hat on their defense. And it's Garrett Pierce, who's their senior linebacker, who really is the guy who gets them. They got DeSoto this week. It's going to be a good test for them. So, there's guys out there. I mean, it's just, it's a list that will grow hopefully as time goes on. Then we got to find a way to narrow it down to 4 guys. But no, it's tough to play linebacker at this level these days, especially in this metro, where depending on where you're at, you could see flex bone one week, spread the next, power eye in some places the next.
Yeah.
I mean, it depending on who you're going against.
Well, let's circle back to where we started this conversation with Dawson Merritt, McGuire Richmond. You go from Aquinas last week to St. James this
yes.
week.
Yeah, it's two totally different set of preparations, and I think that says a lot about the style of football that's played here in the Metro. That there's a little bit of everything. That in just looking in 6A, you got Gardner and Olathe North and Shawnee Mission East who are running option baseball, and Gardner and Shawnee Mission East are flex bone. Shawnee Mission Northwest is flex bone now.
Yeah.
And then you've got Blue Valley West, who's got Tate Nagy, and they've got a good tailback, and they've got receivers, and they're going to move the ball around and do some spread concepts. And Blue Valley Northwest, they do a little bit of everything. I mean, they don't run option, but their quarterbacks usually can run, and they want to get the ball out, and they've got a good tight end and good. So there's a lot of things you got to think about, and that's the thing too. There's a lot of good tight ends type players or H-back type players that you got to account for if you're playing outside backer or even an inside backer. Stuffing some of these run guys. So there's a lot of things that challenge you week to week playing linebacker here in the Metro.
No doubt. And again, a lot of these guys do a little bit of everything. It's kind of hard to put them in a box, because you're going to have some people that might argue, well, Josh Galbraith, for instance, a talented junior at Lawrence, is kind of more of an edge. Well, but he's not because he's dropping back an awful lot. He's just that hybrid now that has become so popular. And as you mentioned, you've got to be versatile in the Metro, and many of the guys on this list, and probably some that we've already forgotten that will end up on this list, are very much so that they are flexible, versatile, do-it-all linebackers.
Yeah, no doubt. And I think as this goes on, the thing that I'm finding is we're going to have to, we're a couple weeks out from where we're going to have to start assigning out position groups and get on some film more so than we already are. And I've tried and watch as much as I can and get in there and not necessarily just deep dive in. That's more like what you do for recruiting. But this has really driven me to say, I got to get eyes on these guys and see how they get to the ball and talk to the coaches who play against them. That's the ones who do they not want to play on Friday night? That's the question I always like to ask. And that's where you really find out about players. And this linebacker group is full of guys that nobody wants to play on Friday night.
Dion, welcome to my world. Welcome to the wide world of huddle, my friend.
Yes. It's definitely going to be a fun year. Well, Ryan, appreciate you stopping in this week on our elite team focus. And we will chat with you again soon on that. Again, actually be chatting with you again here at the end of the hour, just talking about regular games.
Thank you.